Okay, so I literally just finished watching The Legend of Ruby Sunday, and the first thing I have to say is I am so fucking glad the one who waits isn't Rogue. It would have been so fucking bad, and I was so nervous that they were going to do it, but thankfully they didn't. Thankfully they didn't. I was, you know, by the way, I will say this is going to be spoiler filled, so if you have not watched the episode, do not watch this video. Anyway, um, I was kind of expecting this to be a big classic Who villain. I was thinking it was going to be someone the Doctor knew, not an original, because I feel like I don't know. I just had that hunch, and it being a classic. Like I feel like if I had gotten to that point in classic Who, I think it's Pyramids of March, which is I think is considered one of the best Doctor Who stories ever. Um, if I'd gotten to that point in my watch of Classic Who before this episode, it would have had a lot more weight. But alas, it didn't. Yeah. So this is one of those episodes that I think is really, really dependent on the next episode. This was so exciting to watch. I was glued to the TV. But alas, if the next episode sucks and doesn't give us satisfying conclusions to everything this set up, this will be a bad episode. It's one of those. It's one of those. So, yeah, this was just so fucking exciting to watch. Um, I do feel it was a little too dense. And what I mean by that is that I think they're trying to take a an abundance of setup plot threads and trying to cram them all into one. And this is with, Miss Flood, Susan Twist, the one who waits and all these elder god beings coming back and everything. And of course Ruby Sunday and Ruby's parentage and everything, and it's almost like Russell T Davies is I'm gonna set up four bad wolves, and it feels a lot of people were saying this season oh, it's too much like Bad Wolf, it's too much like Zaxxon, Russell T Davies past seasonal arcs, and I'm those seasonal arcs made what kind of a key part of modern Who. Moffat took them the Cracks in Time and Space and Missy and everything. That's that seasonal arc thing. I was never upset that was a thing, and it didn't. I was that's a part of the modern iteration of the show, is that there's these seasonal threads of something that's recurring that eventually is explained. That's inherent to the show, the formula of the show. So to me that wasn't a big deal, but I think the fact that there's five of them, it almost feels Russell Davies is you didn't want me to do one. Well, what if I did five? It almost feels like he's trying to flex his muscles, but it feels like there's a lot of ground to cover here, and this really started covering it. But I'm very interested to see how this all ties in to. So it seemed to Ruby and everything. But yeah, so it seems what happened is that this entity attached itself. I'm already blanking on the name. This Egyptian god creature thing attached itself to the TARDIS at some point. I don't know when. I'm thinking back, and I don't know when. Part of me wants to say Wild Blue Yonder, because that's what it seems everything that in terms of fan discourse and speculation is talking about that moment in the salt moment in Wild Blue Yonder. I am leaning toward. It seems so vocal to this episode, so I'm leaning toward. I think the point when whoever Ruby's mother is points to the TARDIS in the Flash, in 2004, on Ruby Road. I think that might be her transferring her that essence into the TARDIS, and that's when it's latched on. I don't know for sure. I don't know. I could most definitely be wrong. That's just my initial immediate speculation. I think the misdirect here is that Miss Flood is going to be Susan, the Doctor's granddaughter, Susan. I think that like, obviously it was the doctor misinterpreting thing, like wrong anagram, as they said in the episode. But I think that like they've mentioned her too much to not do something with her. So I think that like, I think that's how they're going to resolve that. And I think the twist is that like, um, I'm interested to see what Susan Triad's connection. I think maybe because she was always present near the TARDIS, maybe she's like a manifestation of like how this entity was latched onto the TARDIS this whole time but couldn't be seen. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. For all it did answer this episode, it didn't. There's still a lot to go. And that's what makes me nervous. That's what I was saying essentially, is that it makes me nervous. So good to see Rose 2 back. I guess I'm gonna call her Rose 2 because like it's confusing. There are two core characters in the series now named Rose. But yeah, it's so good to see Rose 2 back. I'm so glad. I'm so glad she's in the show. She didn't get a fair run in the Star Beast. So I'm glad that they're bringing her back as a recurring character. So it was so fun to see her and how she like bonded with Ruby so quickly. It was good. It was great. My question, and we all knew this was going to be an issue when they did the bioregeneration thing, but my question is Tennant not going to come help? He's not. They're not bringing back Tennant. I know they're not. But like, if this is all happening, what does Tennant do, sitting on his porch? This is the issue with that plot point. Like, I understand the intention, and I love the intention of giving the Doctor, and in my opinion, the best iteration of the Doctor, the peace and tranquility he deserves after everything he's done for the universe. I love that intention, but now it poses this plot issue where it's like, so there's this huge entity. Obviously, the Doctor is going to be able to sense it. Like, how is he not going to come help unless he's off world? Which that would also kind of defeat the point of the Doctor's retirement. I thought it was a little cheeky that they gave him a separate TARDIS, and I'll hold that point, but they gave him a separate TARDIS, and he was traveling around with Rose doing some shenanigans. I thought it was a little cheeky, but but I just had an idea. What if the point when the Doctor, when they split the two TARDISes, was when this happened? Maybe the one, maybe what was his name? Set? I don't remember. Maybe he was latched on to the toy maker, and then maybe I'm thinking of this live as I talk, but then maybe when they split the TARDIS, that's when it came through. That could be another point. I don't know for sure. But for rebranding, I do say, for rebranding this as season 1 of this new iteration of the show, there's an awful lot of reliance on stuff that came in the past. And I don't mean classic Who. Obviously you can always refer to classic Who and treat it like it's something new. I feel like that's very much fine and welcome, and I'm totally, I will say, I've kind of said, oh, it's not something I knew. I'm a little salty about that, but I'm totally fine with it being a cool classic Who villain. That's totally okay with me. I'm oh, that's satisfying. I feel like if I was a classic Who fan, that would be satisfying. So yeah, but I feel like they're relying heavily on these specials, and expecting you to have seen these specials, but you can't watch those 3 specials. Those are pretty much the series finale to Modern Who. And is this post-Modern Who? I don't know. You can't watch those specials without watching all of Modern Who. And then you're not going to know a lot of stuff in this, like Rose and a lot of stuff with the unit that's going on, and these Elder Gods and everything. You're not going to know that unless you watch the specials. So branding this as season 1 and not season 14 is very odd, because I don't know how if this is a viewer's season 1, how are they going to know what's going on for a lot of it? I feel like there's a lot of connection to stuff in modern like of course you can reference Classic Who, it's fine. They don't expect you to watch all of Classic Who, but like it's weird how much they're like connecting everything to modern series without while calling it season one, you know. And I know it's a marketing thing from Disney, I know, but like it is a little weird. It is a little weird, but yeah, like I'm very interested to see what the conclusion of who I thought that was going to be the final shot of this episode of who Ruby's mom is. I hear me out. I wonder, and this is something I've thought of in the past, but I kind of like forgot, and it just came to my head, so it might be a little rough. Wonder if Miss Flood is Susan Foreman, and is Ruby's mom or grandmother. I think that making Ruby the Doctor's great granddaughter, I could see them doing that. I really could. I think that would be a fine reveal. Like I think it would be a fine reveal. Like Miss Flood was watching Lego over Ruby, but like Miss Flood does seem a little menacing. You know, like it was like the whole scene with that guy coming was like fucking right out of what was it, Happy Gilmore? Like I was laughing, but if not, if it's just a little comedic misdirect, you know, I could see her being Susan and then Ruby being her granddaughter. Oh, also the thing with the doctor having kids, and they're saying like the life of the like he hasn't had kids yet, but he had a granddaughter. Like, what? like I know they're trying to keep the mystique and mystery around the Doctor, you know, but like, how was he traveling with Susan as his first timeless child, first iteration? If it really, I don't think they're ever going to explain that again. Who knows? I could be proven wrong next episode, but like, it is a little odd, I will say. And like, you know, I know like as a fan, I do push like for the mystique and mystery around Doctor's past, but that's a little weird. Anyway, this was such an exciting watch. I was on the edge of my seat every fucking second. They did try to cram a lot into this, and it was a little weird that like the Doctor was trying to how does the Doctor know that Ruby's past and Susan Triad are connected? Like, how does he know? They could be two completely separate things, and why is he like trying to address them at the same time? Why can't they be like, okay, Ruby's past isn't urgent, let's do Susan Triad now, you know? And then we'll go back to Ruby's past. I like, of course, for the narrative they're connected, but like how does he know? How does he know? I don't know. It felt a little crammed. So I'm saying this episode, as exciting and engaging as it was, it is very dependent on what happens next week for me to really assess its quality as the first part of a two-parter. It's sad that we're ending. It's sad that we're ending so soon. Like, I feel the season was so fucking quick. Only 8 episodes, and the finale two-parter is 2 of them. Like, it's so quick for Doctor Who. And, like, I wish we got more adventures with the Doctor. I know we're gonna get more next season, and, you know, but, like, what, after next week, we're not getting anything until the Christmas special, probably. And then after that, nothing until next May, you know? Luckily, I'm going through all of Classic Who, and you'll see it all on this channel. Maybe I'll get into Big Finish too. Who knows? I keep saying, like, every year, like, one of my New Year's resolutions is, like, hey, this is the year I'll get into Big Finish. Like, I say it every year. And I have, like, a collection of Big Finish stories that I've amassed that I just haven't touched yet. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, enough tangents. That's my thoughts on this episode. Yeah. Interested to see what happens next week. End.